Casemiro and Eminem made an emotional statement about Lionel Messi that you're going to hear in just a moment. But first, let's talk about Barcelona's transfer market. And hey, leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Turn on notifications and comment below. Is Messi the real GOAT, or is there someone else you'd put in that spot? Barcelona and Paris Saint-Germain have reached an agreement for Ferran Torres to join the French club. According to Mundo Deportivo, the final fee is just under 50 million euros, with no add-ons included. That means the total amount will be a fixed fee. The news was also confirmed by Fabrizio Romano, who gave the deal his usual stamp of approval. The deal marks the end of Ferran's time at Barcelona and opens the door for the 26-year-old forward to join PSG, where he has already agreed to a 5-year contract. Ferran Torres didn't train with Barcelona while waiting for the transfer to PSG to be completed. The two clubs have already reached a verbal agreement and are now finalizing the paperwork. The player still needs to undergo his medical exams and is expected to travel soon to complete the final details. If everything goes as planned, the transfer is basically done. Now, the next logical step would be for Julian Alvarez to arrive and for Deco and Flick's plan to finally become a reality. But Atletico Madrid has turned Barcelona's plans into a nightmare. All they seem to know how to say is no. But Flick and Deco aren't willing to take no for an answer. It's likely that Barcelona will now move quickly to bring in a new number 9. According to Fabrizio Romano via FCB World, this week is still focused on Alvarez. Barcelona wants to use the next few days to make one final concrete push. The key point is that Barca is not willing to wait forever. Romano reports that if nothing changes in Alvarez's situation this week, the sporting department will start looking at alternative options for the number 9 position starting next week. He is still the club's top target. So far, Hansi Flick and Deco have remained determined to prioritize Alvarez rather than quickly move on to Plan B. However, with the transfer window getting closer to closing, Barca simply doesn't have the luxury of time to put all their hopes into one player. If Barcelona had managed to keep Ferran Torres in the squad, they could have waited a little longer for Alvarez. But with Ferran leaving, I believe it's time to activate Plan B. Barcelona is still prioritizing Julian Alvarez, who Flick considers the ideal striker for his project. However, the club now needs to start looking at alternatives in case Atletico Madrid continues to refuse to negotiate. If no agreement is reached, Barca will have to accept the situation and look for another striker before the transfer window closes. And besides Ferran Torres, another player Barcelona could sell is Marc Casado. Al Hilal has shown strong interest in him and hasn't given up on signing the La Masia Academy graduate.
Oh, look at the crowd here today. Wow, she is very beautiful.
According to Sport, Al Hilal is preparing another attempt to sign him before the transfer window closes. They're ready to spend big to try to convince Marc Casado to move to Cristiano Ronaldo's league. Casado still hasn't made a final decision about his next destination. The midfielder has received several offers, including one from Al Ahly, and he's still considering his options. The battle between Al Hilal and Al Ahly for Casado could help Barcelona get the 40 million euros they want from the transfer. Barca doesn't plan to accept less and hopes the competition will push the offer even higher. Meanwhile, Casado is frustrated after being left out of first-team training and missing the preseason tour. For Barcelona, selling him would also be important to help ease the club's financial situation. Jules Kounde does not plan to leave Barcelona this summer, despite interest from big clubs like Arsenal, Bayern Munich, PSG, and Tottenham. According to Sport, Tottenham would be willing to offer 65 million euros, but the French defender remains committed to Barca and Hansi Flick. Kounde recently renewed his contract until 2030 and feels valued at the club. He's also close to making history. With 188 appearances for Barcelona, he needs just 5 more to equal Eric Abidal as the French player with the most appearances for the club. With Ronald Araujo on loan at Liverpool, Flick is also considering Kounde as an option to play at centre-back next season. According to Sky Sports, via Mundo Deportivo, Manchester City want at least £60 million, 70 million euros, in guaranteed payments plus add-ons. Barcelona have already reached an agreement on a fixed fee of £55 million, 64 million euros, which means the two clubs are currently just £5 million apart. Barcelona have a big advantage in the negotiations. Rodri has already committed to joining Hansi Flick's project for the next 4 seasons. On top of that, he has just 1 year left on his City contract, meaning the Premier League giants could risk losing him for free next year. Barca remain optimistic because the player wants the move and is willing to help make the deal happen. However, the club doesn't want to pay more than what they believe is a fair price for a player who could leave for free next summer. The situation has become more urgent because Rodri is expected to return to Manchester on Friday. To avoid making the trip, the deal would have to be completed by Friday, or the player would need to ask for permission to delay his return. Meanwhile, Manchester City are also negotiating for Enzo Fernandez from Chelsea for around £120 million, which could have an impact on the Rodri negotiations. Right now, everything could come down to how those £5 million in difference are split between the guaranteed fee and bonuses. Now, we need to talk about Lionel Messi. The 7 goals Inter Miami conceded across those 3 games exposed the team's defensive weaknesses, which is exactly the issue Casemiro came in to help address. However, the midfielder stressed that, as he put it, in football, everyone attacks and everyone defends. Finally, he pointed out that the team is in a strong position in MLS, currently sitting second in the Eastern Conference, and said that as soon as he arrived, he realized that this is a club that demands wins and trophies. Messi returned to the pitch for Inter Miami after traveling to Argentina for the funeral of his father, Jorge Messi. He started on the bench and came on at the 45-minute mark, receiving a huge ovation from the fans, along with chants of "Leo, Leo." His arrival brought new energy to the game. Before that, the only real highlight had been a goal from young Daniel Pinter. Messi's introduction changed the game for Inter Miami, who were looking for the goals they needed to move on. But Leon took the lead through Daniel Arcila. In stoppage time, Yannick Bright put the American team back in front. However, Diber Cambindo and Juan Pablo Rodriguez made the difference for Leon. Cambindo provided 2 assists while Rodriguez scored a stunning goal to make it 2-2. Leon's third goal, which was initially ruled out but later awarded after a VAR review, secured the win and sent them through to the quarterfinals, eliminating Inter Miami. Messi tried to respond, but he couldn't prevent the team from being knocked out. Now, Inter Miami only has the MLS Cup left to save the season, which has fallen well below expectations despite having stars like Rodrigo de Paul, Casemiro, Luis Suarez, and Sergio Reguilon. Lionel Messi is an extraordinary and highly professional player wherever he goes, even during the most difficult moments of his life. Casemiro said Lionel Messi is an example of commitment, pointing to what he did this Wednesday when he made himself available for the League's Cup game against Leon, despite his father passing away the previous weekend. He is an example. I'm sure he's going through a very difficult time. But his commitment, not only to the players but also to the club, was incredible. I've never seen anything like it in my life. All we can do is thank him for being here, Casemiro said. He also stressed that this is one of the reasons why Messi is so great, and why he is one of the best in history, if not the best. It's tough, especially when you lose, but we know we have to keep improving. It was a competition I really wanted to win, Casemiro admitted, before confessing that the result left the team devastated. Casemiro once again showed his love and admiration for Messi, calling him the greatest player in football history. There's also a statement going around that's supposedly from Eminem about Messi, but we're not sure if it's real or just a rumor. Eminem allegedly said, "I only know one football player. He's a World Cup champion and the greatest of all time, Leo Messi." After noticing that Rodrigo de Paul dedicated his goal to Lionel Messi, Casemiro immediately went over to the Argentine World Cup champion to join the tribute in a very special way. The Brazilian midfielder hasn't played alongside the GOAT for a long time, but he still wanted to be part of the gesture. Casemiro walked over to de Paul and once again pointed toward Lionel's iconic number 10 shirt. Yes, the Real Madrid legend wanted to show his support for the Barcelona legend following the passing of his father, Jorge. Casemiro and the entire football world are standing with Messi. Before you leave this video, I also need to tell you that Barcelona has reassured Anthony Gordon and his representatives, saying the club believes they'll be able to register him with La Liga for the 2026-27 season. Here we go again with the same registration issues. The main challenge is creating enough room on the wage bill while staying within La Liga's financial rules. To make that happen, player departures will be crucial. Ronald Araujo's move to Liverpool is already creating significant savings, while a possible move for Ferran Torres to PSG could free up even more space on the wage bill. Other possible departures, such as Hector Fort and Marc Casado, could also help. Gordon, who was Barca's most expensive signing of this transfer window, is still waiting to get his shirt number, but the club is confident it will be able to register him before the start of the season. Now, feel free to leave a comment and hit all the buttons on your screen to interact with this video.